minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Side, please.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchmen News. My name is Laurie Swan. Hope you guys are all doing well. If you are in the live chat, we do ask that you keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platforms we're utilizing today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when we go live. If you're with us over on Facebook, again, welcome. Hit that like button. Please share to your social media so we can get some get ourselves unshadow banned. I'm joined today by our new co-host for the show. He has the keys to the StreamYard. So Earnie is going to have the ability to go live on all of the channels. Welcome, Earnie.
Thank you. How's everybody doing today?
Hopefully we're all doing well. Want to do a little bit of house cleaning before we start our broadcast today. I just want to let you guys know, unfortunately, if you are looking for Global Watchmen News main channel, it's gone. I'm not even going to get emotional over it. I'm not even going to get mad over it. I'm not even going to really give it too much, just to let you guys know. I tried to I tried to log into it to broadcast over there today. I knew that I hadn't logged out of it. So I went to look and couldn't find it. So I went over to this channel and I pulled up the link that we have in our about section, and this came up. So we have got, and we have another channel that we have lost. So if you would please subscribe to copy Global Watchmen News 3 channel. Here we go. There is the link for everybody in YouTube land. Here is the link for everybody in Facebook land. Yeah. So, I'm not going to let it bother me though, because the enemy is trying to silence us. Right, Ernie?
Amen. Anytime we do things for the Lord, the enemy tries to find a way to attack.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, in Ephesians 6, we got to put that whole armor of God on so we can withstand the wiles of the enemy. So, anything like this happens, dust it off, move on, continue to work.
Oh, no weapon against us shall prosper. So,
Amen.
They can do this. They can keep doing this. They can keep getting us down. You know what? We're like mushrooms. We're just going to keep popping back up.
Absolutely. We're like bunny rabbits popping out of the holes.
That's right. We are. So, yeah. All right. Deb says we're going to have to start speaking pig Latin. Girl, I think we already do on most cases. My goodness. It's getting to the point where, but Ernie did say that I do need to learn OBS so we can start broadcasting over on Rumble. So I will do that. Big day today. In case you haven't heard, the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade. What do you think about that, Ernie?
I seen it coming.
We
got glimpses of documents that was leaked involving them overturning it. And as you can see, that a lot of people are swaying from Democrat to Republican. So we're expecting to see a huge red wave coming in the midterm elections coming up here this November. And I mean, it's not surprising that they went ahead and overturned that. I believe it is by design. I believe it is done to cause tension and friction between the American people, and so the government can come in and establish order out of this chaos.
Absolutely. It's funny you should say that because my husband was the one that told me about it this morning. Dave, he messaged me and he said they just overturned Roe v. Wade, and I said, well, get ready for the riots. And I wasn't thinking that they would be coming right away, but they are already happening.
Absolutely. And it's starting in Washington, D.C. I was listening to Tim Pool earlier today, and government is sending out warnings to churches and other outlets to have heightened security, especially tonight and this upcoming Sunday. So we're going to see a lot of quote unquote violence. And Maxine Waters, who I am not so fond of, is calling for huge protests, and she didn't say peaceful. And and knowing her, she is implying for us to get dirty, if you will. And the fact of the matter is that the majority of the people in this country do not see past all of this. They do not see the reason. And when somebody is approached with the truth, cognitive dissonance is set in, and it hurts my heart that people are so blind to see all the stuff that is going on and have the inability to see right through it or choose not to.
Well, it's funny because Trisha posted something up on Facebook, I think it was yesterday, talking about, cognitive dissonance. And I said, unfortunately, cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome go hand in hand. not only do people not want to see the truth, but they will also defend their oppressor. They will also defend, the people, the very people that are calling them the useless eaters.
Absolutely. Well, the Nobel Harari definitely made that phrase more mainstream, and his plan is seen to coming to fruition quite drastically over the past couple of weeks. And I don't think this is going to be the last of it as far as decisions being made to overturn the country.
Right. Now, we want to make it perfectly clear to let you guys know that even when the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court has reversed Roe v. Wade, what this does, it puts the responsibility of abortion decisions on the state. So this is not saying that, it is illegal to get an abortion in the United States right now. It just means that the states now have the ability to choose for themselves whether or not abortion will be legal or it will be illegal, offered or not offered. I'm going to read this to you guys real quick. It says, the United States Supreme Court officially reversed Roe v. Wade on Friday, declaring that the constitutional right to abortion upheld for nearly a half a century no longer exists. Writing for the court majority, Justice Samuel Alito said that the 1973 Roe ruling and repeated subsequent high court decisions reaffirming Roe must be overruled because they are egregiously wrong and argues exceptionally weak and so damaging that they amount to an abuse of the judicial authority. The decision, most of which was leaked in early May, means that abortion rights will be rolled back in nearly half of the states immediately, with more restrictions likely to follow. For all practical purposes, abortion will not be available in large swaths of the country. The decision may well mean, too, that the court itself, as well as the abortion question, will become a focal point in the upcoming fall elections and in the fall elections and in the fall and thereafter. I don't know why they wrote it like that. Joining the Alito opinions are Justice Clarence Thomas, appointed by First President Bush, and the three Trump appointees, Justice Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. Chief Justice Roberts, appointed by President George W. Bush, concurred in the judgment only and would have limited the decision to upholding the Mississippi law at issue in the case, which banned abortions after 15 weeks. So, like they're saying, is now it falls on the states. And what that's going to mean is that I believe all of the blue states will most likely uphold the decision of the Supreme Court, and all the red states will decide on their own to legalize them. Correct? What do you think about that?
I believe so. From what I've read, 11 states is already banning it. And the Democratic states, they're going to offer abortion to people who are seeking it. And New York City mayor already authorized people to come into the state and receive that if they choose to do so. I don't know about how those laws will translate into people wanting to go out of state for that. Right. But the fact of the matter is, it's all just saying it's up to the states, which is supposed to be like that in the first place.
Yeah.
Just like the rule the other day about permit to carry arms. And it has to be up to the states. And the federal government overseeing all of this stuff just gives them more power. And with more power gives them more control over our lives. And it should not be that way. It should be on the people themselves.
And that's the way the Constitution was written, actually.
Exactly.
The Constitution was written that the states govern themselves. The government, or the government is just a kind of an overseer, which really has no power over the states. But unfortunately, throughout the years and throughout the corruption that has emerged throughout the years, throughout the decades, throughout the centuries here, we've come to an overreaching of our federal government.
Exactly. And when the Constitution were first established, there was a system of checks and balances in play
Correct.
to prevent this stuff from happening. And when the people with this decide to give more power to the government, that's when things can go awry. So many of the things that we're experiencing right now, as far as overreach goes, is because of the people of the country giving them those powers, whether it's through FF attack or through pandemics, as we've seen happen in 2020. And that's complete overreach. And people need to start seeing that this is done by design. Yes, you may be pro-life. Yes, you may be pro-choice. But the fact of the matter is, you're giving up those rights to the government. Therefore, you have no say whatsoever as far as what goes on in your personal life.
Right. Exactly. And you know, I kind of have a I kind of have a mixed emotion on it, I guess you might say, because there's a trend going on TikTok, and it's been since the documents were leaked. So it started right around maybe the end of May, and it's women putting out videos telling with a message saying, we have legal campgrounds here. If you want to come camping, we will put you up. We will give you a place to stay, and we will make sure that you can, that your camping experience is. I can't remember how they're wording it, but camping is code for abortion, and they're saying that you can come here, you can use our address. You can, we will take you to and from, and you can stay here while you recover. Myself, the reason why I'm having mixed emotions on this, Ernie, and I know this is probably not very Christian of me, but I'm visioning back alley abortions and the mutilization of our women and these babies.
It's definitely something to think about.
I mean, I don't agree with abortion. I don't. But is this going to put women has this put us back into the dark ages of medicine? I mean, at least these women, had you see where my dilemma is here with my belief system and then thinking of these women?
I do. And I also think of the fact that it opens the doors for more ritualistic tendencies.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I think of banning it, I think of Soylent Green, and I think of Marina Abramovich,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I think of
Handmaid's Tale.
Exactly, and I think of the inappropriate activities from a sexual aspect, and that concerns me. It does. But the Most High created us to be fruitful, multiply,
Absolutely,
and fill the earth. And the fact that people are trying to take away from that, I mean, it's satanic in nature. And the fact that the enemy has in the time that's running out of time just make things more escalated, if you will. And just like in the Old Testament where people were sacrificing, for their gods, we're going to see more of that when people are banning abortion. And it hurts to see that. But what's right is right. And life is consumed at the womb and from conception. And the blood of a child is life, and God is life. And He put His breath into our lungs to grow and develop. And the fact that people are trying to take that away. I mean, God protects his children. And the fact that people are doing that's downright blasphemous to the Most High, and they will seek judgment sevenfold.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was sent this earlier. This is a official Enoch calendar, and I want to thank my friend Julie for sending me this. And she said that the date that they did this, which would have been, they would have voted last night, was not coincidental. June 23rd, Sodom and Gomorrah judged.
Yeah.
So the same day that the Enochian calendar says that Enoch, or that Sodom and Gomorrah was judged, they were making the decision on the Roe v. Wade.
Yes, indeed. And you can definitely see the fruit starting to harvest.
Yeah. And I know that here in Chicago, they're already planning on I want to say protests, but I know for a fact that it won't be it'll be more like riots, because here in Chicago, that's how they do things. Citywide reported this a little while ago, 9:25 this morning. It said, with Roe v. Wade overturned, protest plan in Chicago, local officials had pledged Chicago and Illinois will remain a haven where people can access abortions and other forms of reproductive health care. I knew that Illinois would most likely stick with keeping it legal here, only because, well, we are a we're a democratic state.
Yes, so I fail to see what the problem is then. Why are they protesting? They have access to that. I mean, it's not like there's banning it nationwide.
Yeah.
So they're protesting for what?
Good question. It's a very good question. I could see protesting before it, but I mean, isn't this a victory for them? Isn't this a victory for these God-hating, feminist women who, believe that babies aren't human until they take their first breath? Unless you live in California, and then it's 28 days?
It's
after.
I fail to understand where their priorities are. We're facing an economy where we're getting food shortages, factories burning, cows and chickens dying, and nobody's protesting over that. But yet they're protesting on something that they have technically won.
Right. Nobody's protesting over $6 a gallon gasoline.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You wonder where the priorities are. But then again, with Satan being the god of this world, it completely makes sense.
Well, he eradicated critical thinking.
Right. That's very true. Common sense and critical thinking are something that have gone by the wayside years ago, I think.
Absolutely. We get that in music, we get that in the media, we get that in doctrine that we learn over in our education system. Mm-hmm. So we're pretty much raised not to think, but just do.
Exactly.
So in the essence, we are slaves to the system.
Absolutely. And more so, because people, like I said, the cognitive dissonance and the Stockholm syndrome going hand in hand. I mean, you sit there and you try telling some people the truth. You try discussing these topics with them, and I can say this. Let me put it personal. Speaking to certain family members, where you start having a conversation and you're shut down immediately with the words, "This is a conversation for another day," or "This isn't appropriate for right now." Well, when do you want to talk about it? Because you never want to talk about hard topics. These are the people, but Joe Biden did get 81 million votes, or What was the other one she said? We're rule followers. I will double mask. You can't come to my house unless you're triple, quadruple, 1 millionth, jabbed. You can't come to graduations. You can't come to picnics. You can't come visit us. She told my stepson, yeah, you can come out here. You can visit anytime you want as long as you're jabbed. What?
It's crazy.
I don't understand the logic behind these people's thinking. You don't have to be an Einstein to look and realize, Ernie, there's something seriously wrong.
Exactly. And it's those few that act the way they do that's shadowing those of us who have a sound mind and have the ability to think critically and see past the things that's going on. And it's by design. The media is blanketing all of us who choose to speak out, that choose to remain grounded in our belief system, that choose to do what's right. And they want to show that what's bad is good and what's good is bad.
Right.
I mean, I was thinking about this earlier. If you read the book of Exodus and Leviticus, they talk about the Israelites being free from Egypt. They were slaves. When they were freed, they kept complaining, regardless of them relying on God and God providing for them and showing them time and time again that He is overseeing everything that goes on in their lives, so they remain protected. But yet they still complained. Yet they still choose to engage in worship of other gods and rely on themselves to be fed. But yet God is taken out of the church. God is taken out of the school system. God is taken out of the country.
Yeah.
And you see the same things.
How do you expect God to protect us and to be there for us when we've essentially turned our back on Him and said, get out?
Exactly. And you're starting to see that on some of our monetary supply too, with our quarters. If you see beforehand, it was facing In God We Trust. Now His back is turned away from In God We Trust.
Yes. If you guys haven't noticed that, the new coins that have come out, the 2022 quarters to be exact, George Washington's face used to face In God We Trust. Now his face is turning the opposite way. He's turned his back on In God We Trust. That says so much about this country. Subliminally, I don't know if they meant it. They probably meant it on purpose, but I don't know.
We're going to face judgment.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to face judgment. Absolutely. We can't continue to spit in God's face and mock Him and ridicule Him and expect His mercy to continue. It's not going to. And then when something bad happens, like a shooting or something, people are the first ones to blame God. Well, what are you talking about? It's not His fault. You've turned your back on Him.
Exactly.
It's one way or the other.
Look how things were 20 years ago, and compared to now.
Yeah. And it's just going to keep getting worse. Like I said, I don't understand why these people are going to be protesting. They won. Okay. You guys won. I don't know.
I do think we're headed towards a civil war.
Oh, I do too. I don't know.
Main thing we do have to do is remain protected at all costs, and keep watch on your surroundings and get your houses in order.
Yeah.
Because this has been written. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
We were all expecting things like this to occur. If you're not protected now, you're running out of time.
Exactly. Yes, Chris, it is about the great reset. It is. You know, we've got this fake awakening happening. Robbie said it best years ago. He said that, you know, the New World Order has to look like it's being put down in order for it to rise up. Hold on a second, my husband. You know, and it's, you know, people are going to be like very excited that, oh, they're fighting the New World Order. It's done. It's over with, you know, when in reality, what they have in place to come up and rise is going to be so much worse than what we were even expecting.
Exactly. And the fact that something this monumental occurred, you have to ask yourself, what is this distraction from? What is really going on?
Exactly. Well, I mean, look at what's happened in the last week or so. We've got those cows that have, you know, 10,000 cows. Have you seen the picture of the 10,000 cows? Have you seen the pictures of them?
I have seen it many times. They explained that they died from heat exhaustion. It
doesn't look right to me.
Exactly.
You know what? I think I have a video that I do. Let me grab it real quick. I sent it to Eric last night because we were talking about it the other night. Give me 2 seconds here. Let me pull it up. I think this is the one. Yes, this is the one. Let me share it with you guys. Thought this was quite interesting. Okay. Mute.
It's going to be fairly long, 2 minutes maybe, but we all remember this, right? This other video. Now, I
want to stop for a second there. Look at them, how they're lined up. If they would have died from the heat, Ernie, wouldn't they have been wandering around like disoriented and just, you know, collapsed? Why are they all like in a row?
Exactly. It seems like they were herded together for slaughter.
Yeah. I'll continue with this because this gets interesting.
This other video. Now, I didn't repost it because I was kind of looking at it. I was like, yeah, maybe it's Photoshop, or maybe it was just, I don't know, just wasn't enough to tie it together to really post it. So take a look at this one.
What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to.
I want you to watch this video and tell me, does it seem like it might all coincide together? And then if it does, what does that mean to you? What does that mean? Intentional destruction of our food source. What does that mean to you?
Morning, guys. This is Dr. Dean Taylor.
While we were arranging for a petroglyph expert to come out to the ranch to examine the rock art on the mesa, Thomas headed up an important investigation related to one of the most bizarre things we encountered last year.
Thomas Winterton. We decided to call in a veterinarian with the Utah Department of Agriculture, Dr. Dean Taylor. Last summer, we had a cow that died from rapid onset stress-induced pneumonia.
What in the world? There's no cat tracks, there's no sign of struggle.
Middle of the day.
It's just dead. It's hard to kill a cow.
Look at this.
Look at this.
Fill my phone.
It's going vibrate to mute like crazy.
Holy crap. Given the history of reported cattle mutilations on Skinwalker Ranch, we were all put on edge when this otherwise normal cow just dropped dead. And as soon as we started to investigate it, Thomas Winterton's phone started glitching like it was being hacked.
The meter's going nuts.
And out of nowhere, we started getting meter readings for really high levels of radiation all around us. 13, 14, we're at 15, 16.
The day after the cow died last year, we were reviewing some of the footage. And we noticed this object up in the sky.
The cow is right here. I can't help but also notice that there's something happening here.
Oh, yeah, there it was.
Right there.
The cow reacted the moment that that object appeared.
I was sitting here this whole time just thinking it was a bird, but you watch that I mean, that's fast.
Yeah, there's no bird moving that fast. Not a cow. I have no idea what that is.
It's going to be.
Pretty interesting, huh?
Very, very interesting. And I mean, I don't put anything past as far as the globalists are concerned. I mean, nothing that's been happening lately is natural at all.
Right. I posted up on ESWG last night something that I found. It was, one second, let me pull it up here. California to euthanize 350,000 diseased trout. And they're going to replace it. Let me pull it up. They're going to replace it with government stock? What does that mean?
The only thing I can think of is Gil Bates has a hand in this.
Yes. Yep.
Because when you hear his name, you hear GMO, and it reminds me of the baby formula, the crickets.
Yeah.
All being done as part of our Great Reset.
It is. It is. I was just answering. Chris asked if I heard a call for an uprising. Yes, actually, Call and I are friends. We speak quite often on Google Hangouts. I haven't talked with him in a while, but yeah, we speak often. He has a lot of good information. Yeah, so we've got this, the baby formula. We've got the diseased chickens. Now we've got these trout. We've got the cattle. We've got now, I think it's 100 food processing plants. If you can't see that they're planning something, if you can't see if they are putting these things, throwing at us on purpose, this is. I'm going to tell you guys. So, and I've said this from the beginning, you guys, that if I saw something to be alarmed with in the trucking business, I would let you guys know. It's bad.
Yes, it is.
Dave is on his way back from New Jersey. He's coming back here with a full load of I don't know what he's got on there. He's got fresh fruit and vegetables because he got loaded at a small farm in Jersey yesterday. But he's supposed to get loaded again when he gets back here and he gets unloaded. He's supposed to get loaded again on Friday, and then he leaves out on Sunday. There's no freight on the board. That we use the freight boards. We use the open market, the spot market. If the freight brokers will post up the loads that they have for us, and then we find where we want to go, or one that looks like it suits us, and then we call the broker, and then we book the load, and we sign the contracts. The boards are empty. There's nothing. So it's not good. 6 months ago, there was 200 and 300 loads on the board at any given time. There's nothing. Zero today. He called me this morning and said, Laurie, there's nothing on the boards. I have nothing to load with tomorrow. That never happens, ever. In the 42 years that he's been driving truck and the 7 years that I've been here, I've never seen 0 loads on the board. Not
That's
good.
sad.
Yeah, not good.
Coupled with the fact that there is a diesel shortage too, and
yeah,
DEF fluid is pretty much non-existent.
Not a diesel shortage. There's a DEF shortage.
Yes,
it's DEF. It's the additive. It's the diesel emissions. No, it's something that it's added. It's not mixed with the diesel, but it's added into the combustion, into the exhaust. Diesel exhaust something, and that is they're having a shortage of the DEF right now, which God has again blessed us. And I've said this before, because our truck doesn't require DEF. So it's another one, but guys, Dave and I put God first all the time, and he blesses us like you wouldn't believe. Before we even pull out, we pray in our truck, and we completely and totally trust in God every step of the way, and he has blessed us tremendously. I have no doubt that he's going to continue to bless us, but I think that it's going to get harder for us to keep up this pace, because God's good, but he's got to let this play out too.
Absolutely. And we're starting to see the angels that are about in this pit starting to get released, and we're starting to see the upcoming famine, and he's already had a glimpse of the pestilences that is occurring.
Yeah.
And it's all been predicted in the scripture, and we have to rely on the Most High to be able to guide us through all of this.
Absolutely.
Because I read somewhere that we have 2 months worth of wheat left.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this all started with, the Ukraine. Before Ukraine, I didn't know that they provided so much of our wheat. We used to be self-sufficient. We used to actually export things, and now we are so dependent on other countries. It's almost like this was, created. This was planned. If I didn't know better.
It has. And Cognitive Chaos had a question.
I was just pulling this up. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my head's getting foggy. Marcus Kaiser sent this to me just a little while ago, and it kind of gives an explanation. It says, Roe v. Wade, what's really going on? What does the overturn of Roe v. Wade really mean, going deeper than the surface politics? Today, 6/24/2022, the Supreme Court of America overturns Roe v. Wade. That means it is not the federal government's job to guarantee that American citizens have the right to an abortion. It puts most of this stuff back into the hands of each of our states. It does not automatically make abortion illegal, but it does shift the battle against the theft of life to the state level. In the age of inversion, the destroyers have tricked the minds of so many low information Americans into believing, 1, owning a gun means you have less freedom and are in more danger, and 2, freedom means the right to life on your own terms, specifically that babies can be killed if you feel they interfere with your immediate goals. Those two things are the opposite of truth, but despite that, are widely held beliefs, specifically with the young and with those who believe the mass media. As a result, they are trying to what is going on at the spiritual level. The reality is that has almost nothing to do with rights and freedoms and promiscuity like they push. This has to do with spiritual authority, power, and a territory. Abortion is not about you being more free or safe or empowered. Those are just distractions and diversions to get you to be passive or cooperate with the abortion agenda and to trick you into not fighting against it. Abortion has to do with human blood, with life force. Yes, it also has to do with big money and selling human tissue for fake healthcare and ritual purposes. But it is mainly about the blood or the life. The currency in the spirit realm is not dollars, diamonds, or gold, but blood. The fallen spirits have no connection to God. Father God is life itself. They must find a life substitute to make their dead existence more bearable. The substance is sacrificial blood, is forced pain and suffering, is unjust death of human. The human powers, the politicians and their secret societies, cults, and fallen angel worship seek power for those that themselves lost to the armies of heaven. The Bible mentions two prominent bloodthirsty damned entities that love to trick human societies into willingly feed them blood on a regular basis: Moloch and Baal. This is what they do. This bloodshed gives them access to what they themselves lack: life force. God is life and creates life within himself. Fallen angels have all rejected and rebelled against God, siding with Lucifer in his failed attempt to usurp God's throne, getting heaven as their realm with the authority of God's throne to control all of the realms. In their fall from the higher dimension of heaven to the lower dimensions of astral, atmospheric, and the three-dimensional universe, they are cut off from the life of God. They are cast out of everything most alive and glorious. They need to usurp God because God is life itself. That is the spiritual element of what's going on in a nutshell.
Exactly. And for those of you who do not believe in spiritual warfare, I have a rude awakening for you. It's real. It's very real. And if the powers and principalities and high places believe in it, then so should you. I mean, this is not about politics. This is not about civil war. This is not about country versus country or kingdom against kingdom. It is about the ultimate battle for your mind.
That's right.
And it's done through the corruption of Lucifer himself and the demonic entities that possess us on a regular basis, and is slowly but steadily over the years increased. And as I just mentioned earlier, that we are at a time where the devil's time is running out, and he is going to pull out all of the stops to wipe out as many people as possible. We've noted this on the Georgia Guidestones. We noticed this about the Great Reset. It is right in front of your eyes, people. We are in a spiritual war that is escalating to proportions that we have never seen in our lifetimes, past or present.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get ourselves in order and cut back from listening to the mainstream media, listening to people who say follow the science, listening to those people who wants us to eat bugs, to listen from those people who says you will own nothing and be happy, and start researching yourself. It all has been written in a great scripture, and it's all has been proven true if you just open up the Bible and look.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Ernie. And, you know, I see so many people are not prepared for what's coming. Spiritually, physically, mentally. They're not prepared for it. I don't know if people understand, but we have passed the point of no return. the only thing that is going to pull us out of the economic disaster we're in right now is war. And what is war? More blood sacrifice.
Exactly. And there will be a time of quote unquote peace. But with peace comes sudden destruction.
That's right.
So this peace is fake. The only way you'll be able to find peace is through the blood of Jesus Christ.
Exactly. Today, like I said, I have mixed emotions about today. I don't understand why there's going to be protests here in Chicago. You guys won. Basically, Chicago's still staying the same as it was. Do you know if let me ask you a question. I don't know if you know the answer because it just kind of popped into my head just now. And if anybody in the chat room knows the answer, please type it in there. With the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, does that now mean that that the federal money sent to Planned Parenthood will cease?
That's a good question. I have not thought about that because that organization is federally funded, correct?
I believe so. And this again. Okay, let me use an example. Given self-governance, a person will drop to the lowest the lowest level. All right, this makes sense. A person is not going to the majority of people are not going to hold themselves accountable to a higher standard. They're always going to drop down to like the minimum. And what I mean by that is think about this. Think about a restaurant. If you did not have the FDA and the governing forces coming in and inspecting these restaurants, you would literally be eating filth. So holding each state accountable for their own decision on abortions, is this going to drop the level of care when it comes to the states that are providing abortion? Is there still going to be an oversight? Are they still going to be held accountable? Are they still going to be held to, strict medical procedures? Is the ADA going to monitor these doctors? Are they even going to be licensed coming into these clinics? You see where I'm going with this?
Absolutely.
These are questions that I have because, it upsets me to think of an abortion, period. But then to think of an abortion where it's not even monitored, where you've got, like I said, these back alley abortionists from back in the 1950s.
We're facing some troubling times ahead.
Very troubling times. Absolutely. I don't know. But it is spiritual.
So we got to look at it like this too. If Planned Parenthood is defunded from the federal government due to this ruling, those types of organizations paid for by our tax dollars. What does that do for the states who does offer abortions to be able to fund these operations?
Yeah. These are questions that, I don't know who's going to have the answer. I'm not seeing it. Are you interested in watching what Biden had to say on this topic? Or
Well, if he's coherent enough to be able to say something about it.
I don't know. I didn't hear it. I don't know what he's got to say on it. Hold on a second. Let's see what he's got. And guys, please, if you haven't already subscribed over to Global Watchmen News 3, please do that. And we'll discuss that in a minute.
Got hairy legs.
Today is it's not hyperbole to suggest a very solemn moment. Today, the Supreme Court of the United States took away a constitution
having pretty good talk.
People that it had already recognized. They didn't limit it.
You can bring him in.
They
I'm
took it
muted
away.
right now.
That's never been done to a right so important to so many Americans. But they did it. It's a sad day for the court and for the country. 50 years ago, Roe v. Wade was decided and has been the law of the land since then. This landmark case protected women's right to choose, her right to make intensely personal decisions with her doctor, free from the interference of politics. It reaffirmed basic principles of equality, that women have the power to control their own destiny, and it reinforced a fundamental right of privacy, the right of each of us to choose how to live our lives. Now, with Roe gone, let's be very clear. The health and life of women in this nation are now at risk. As chairman and ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, as vice president and now as president of the United States, I've studied this case carefully. I've overseen more Supreme Court confirmations than anyone today, where this case was always discussed. I believe Roe v. Wade was the correct decision as a matter of constitutional law and application of the fundamental right to privacy and liberty in matters of family and personal autonomy. It was a decision on a complex matter that drew a careful balance between a woman's right to choose earlier in her pregnancy and the state's ability to regulate later in her pregnancy. A decision with broad national consensus that most Americans of faith and backgrounds found acceptable, that have been the law of the land for most of the lifetime of Americans today. And it was a constitutional principle upheld by justices appointed by Democrat and Republican presidents alike. Roe v. Wade was a 7-2 decision written by a justice appointed by a Republican president, Richard Nixon. In the 5 decades that followed Roe v. Wade, justices appointed by Republican presidents from Eisenhower, Nixon, Reagan, George W. Bush were among the justices who voted to uphold the principles set forth in Roe v. Wade. It was 3 justices named by one president, Donald Trump, who were the core of today's decision to upend the scales of justice and eliminate a fundamental right for women in this country. Make no mistake, this decision is a culmination of a deliberate effort over decades to upset the balance of our law. It's a realization of an extreme ideology and a tragic error by the Supreme Court, in my view. The court has done what it has never done before, expressly take away a constitutional right that is so fundamental to so many Americans that had already been recognized. The court's decision to do so will have real and immediate consequences. State laws banning abortion are automatically taking effect today, jeopardizing the health of millions of women, some without exceptions. So extreme that women could be punished for protecting their health. So extreme that women and girls were forced to bear their rapist's child. With the child, a consequence. It just stuns me. So extreme that doctors will be criminalized for fulfilling their duty to care. Imagine having a young woman have to carry the child of incest as a consequence of incest. No option. Too often the case. The poor women are going to be hit the hardest. It's cruel. In fact, the court laid out state laws criminalizing abortion that go back to the 1800s as rationale. The court literally taking America back 150 years. This is a sad day for the country, in my view. But it doesn't mean the fight's over. Let me be very clear and unambiguous. The only way we can secure a woman's right to choose, the balance that existed, is for Congress to restore the protections of Roe v. Wade as federal law. No executive action from the president can do that. And if Congress, as it appears, lacks the votes to do that now, voters need to make their voices heard. This fall, we must elect more senators and representatives who will codify women's right to choose into federal law once again.
I don't know about you, but I heard enough. Wow.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't at all. So you can type in chat?
I can't.
Okay, but you're typed in there now as Global Watchmen News too. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, for those of you that don't know, Earnie has now been given the keys to the channel. He's going to have the ability to go live and share things with you and kind of take the responsibility off of me for a while. I've we need to do more shows, but unfortunately I just don't have the energy to do it. So Ernie's going to have that ability. So what we'll do is when we're both up here and we're both going to be typing in chat, I will use capital letters and he will use small letters, and that way you'll know who you're talking to. So yeah. Yeah, you know what, Ernie, it's going to be interesting over the next few weeks, I guess you could say, in watching what happens in these states, as far as these protests that are coming up. And it's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the midterms.
It's going to be very interesting, and everybody's talking about a red wave incoming, and I think that's going to escalate tensions much worse than what we're going to be experiencing this weekend.
Yeah. Oh boy, this is a sad day for pro-lifers.
It is, but I mean, we can rejoice in knowing that God wins in the end.
Absolutely. 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 All right. Well, we're going to close down here. We're up on an hour and 3 minutes. Thank you so much, Ernie, for agreeing and for having the desire to help out here. I greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I know you've gone through a lot, and I wanted to do my part to be able to help expand this network and, most importantly, reach out to more souls.
Exactly. Thank you. And I know that you had mentioned about doing Bible studies, and I know there's a lot of people in the chat that are going to be very interested in that. Whether you want to do it public or private, I can show you how to do that. Because you can, you have that ability to do it private too, and still have people in chat.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also had ideas of, obviously, since we're believers and we take the brunt of spiritual attacks, that we can open up like private broadcasts where we can pray with one another and uplift one another and place burdens on each other's shoulders, because that's what we're here to do.
Yes.
And God calls on us to place the burden on each other's shoulders and come together to Him together. So that's one of the focuses I want to be on. And plus, I wanted to bring some fun to this group. I mean, not everything is negative or whatnot. We can also be able to rejoice together and just have some fun.
Exactly. So we're looking forward to the changes that are coming. I do want to remind everybody, if you have not already subscribed to Global Watchmen News 3, please do so. This is what I woke up to this morning. We have lost our main channel, which I don't understand because I source everything. They're trying to say, but I believe that we're being struck. I think we're being crowd struck, to tell you the truth. Which, that's the devil attacking. There's people out there that don't like what we say. They have a difference of opinion in what we say, and therefore we must be punished. So, but if you are not already subscribed to Global Watchmen News 3, that will be changed now to Global Watchmen News, and you know how that works. So here you go. There's the Global Watchmen News 3. I will work on that today. I will get everything up and running. And get it hooked up to our StreamYard, and I need to send you the login information also, Ernie. Remind me to give that to you on the channels, so you have the ability to go into and approve. Some comments are held if they comment with a link, it'll be held for review, so you have to okay it. So it keeps the spammers out of our chats and out of our comment section. So
Absolutely.
All right.
I do want to say something. Southern Truth actually posted something that I wanted to say, but completely slipped my mind. For those of you who are attending churches, please note your pastor and church leaders about the events that transpired, and have heightened security at your places of worship this coming weekend, and also have somebody keep an eye out, because I personally expect a lot of attacks on our houses of worship. So please notate this and contact your church leaders as soon as possible.
And I'm sure your church has already done that.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of churches are having meetings today and tomorrow with the bishops and the deacons. I'm sure that's happening. So we want to keep all of our brothers and sisters uplifted in prayer over the weekend for their safety, and to make sure that be aware of your surroundings no matter where you go, especially in the cities. I know here in Chicago they're planning on protests, which means that it could happen anywhere. The last time they protested, it literally got 5 miles from my house. So, be vigilant to where you are, stay safe, and, keep our brothers and sisters in prayers, and keep those babies in prayers too.
Absolutely.
All right, Ernie, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody in the chat room for joining us. Thank our moderators once again. And remember, I can't even say this enough. Eyes open. Absolutely no fear.